Good evening, everyone. It's Mark, the bowler hat farmer. How we doing? If I just quickly spin round here tonight and just show you some of our veg beds which we've been developing this year, as we've come along, broad beans and tomato plants and French beans and strawberry plants all on there and cherry tomatoes and all sorts going on. Lots of maras, courgettes and things coming on nicely. Now, a lot of stuff hasn't been grown, people know this year, and we found that you can grow the plant, but getting it to fruit's another thing. Stuff is finally starting to fruit, I have to say, and it's starting to fruit rather lovely. Just put some leeks in here. We had the broad beans in this end. I don't know if you can see them leeks are just going in behind us. They're all going in nicely now. But you do all this hard work and you finally get to the point that you think to yourself, look at this. Oh, look at them. Going to be in the shop tomorrow. And you get beautiful. Look at that. Long and green, fit for the queen. Courgettes. Got some baby maras. All going to be in the shop tomorrow. It's now starting to come together. See, we all have to get through this nonsense of whatever it is, stuff not growing, stuff not germinating. The sower keeps on sowing. So where do we go from here? I keep asking this question over the last few days. You have to sort of think to yourself, well, where do we want to go? Because I got wind of something today which I knew about but didn't really understand the ins and outs of it, and it's quite scary. And we talk about, you know, make sure you've got heritage seeds and make sure you've got this, make sure you've got that. There was an article out today that a lot of these big corporations have now decided that, for example, I've got broad beans that my granddad, and runner beans that my granddad gave me as a child and taught me how to set those and to be in the position that every year we keep some of those seeds to develop for next year's seed. And year on year, you just keep the same seed. You keep your seed back and keep your seed back and keep your seed back. Now, these corporations, gotta love them, globalists they are, the WEF fans, they've decided that they can be in a position that they like to go through the strain of the bean, the DNA, and they can get a patent on that bean, and if they go further enough through the DNA chain, they can capture about sort of 100 varieties for each one, and then tell everyone that they can't set those seeds, what you're, like me, granddad gave you 50 years ago, that you've kept every year to make sure that you've got the same strain. You can't have them anymore and you can't plant them, and they're just going to try to get this through the EU law now, that we will not be able to set our own seeds. We must buy the ones which come from the corporations. Well, screw you lot, corporations. I ain't taking part in that. And I would urge anybody not to take part. We've got to resist this nonsense all that we can, because, you know, I've noticed that there is so much BS now going on. I will ask this, you know, put your comments below. If you're a seed saver, for goodness sake, tell, because I am great at saving certain seeds. I'm lousy at saving tomato seeds. I can never do that one. I really struggle on that, and it's something that I'm frustrated with, because I used to be in the position I used to have 16 varieties of tomatoes, and have now got to the position that I'm down to about 3. And need to get back up on that. So if anyone's got any heritage tomato seeds that they would like to donate to the Lark project, then, you know, let me know. I want to talk about something else tonight, actually, and all the partridges are flying, been looking at something in particular, and I talk quite openly about this all the time, and not after anything at this point in time apart from you to have the knowledge what I know. So I've been looking at launching a CIC. A friend and I launched it a year ago. We've done very little with it yet, deliberately, because we wanted to find out where things were going to head. And what we're looking to do is to raise funds so that people who want to get into the food and farming industry, whether that's to just start growing a little bit on an allotment, or they want to, you know, take on a 3-acre site and they need a polytunnel. If they're, I don't know, someone who wants to get into bacon and needs an oven, then they can effectively apply to the CIC for funding to get that off the ground. Now, I've got a friend working on something at the moment called, and I've never heard of it before, but someone commented about it on the YouTube comments the other day, so thank you for that, because I hadn't heard about it. And it was a thing called Buy Me a Coffee. So we'll be able to put a link in and you'll be able to effectively buy me a coffee for, let's say, 2-3 quid. And that money will go into the CIC bank account for us to be able to fund new projects. I find that really exciting. And when you think of the absolute billions that the DEFRA have to play with, and the good what they could do instead of employing all these idiots that unfortunately just want to pull the farming industry to bits, whether it's, you know, TB testing or bird flu pandemic incoming, whatever it might be. You know, this is all really sad stuff, I'm afraid, and we need to be in a position that we get ahead of the game, better that, and be better than them. So we've got this CIC, we've got it now set up, the bank accounts and everything are in place. We're going to launch that shortly, and we're going to start looking for funds. And once we've got funds, people will be able to donate, you know, into us, and we'll be able to get people then to apply for that funding for their project. And you know, the panel will look at it and see, you know, which ones are viable, and, you know, hopefully we'll be able to help loads of people. You know, wouldn't it be great to get to a point we can actually buy land and so forth. Now, it's really important that we get things like this off the ground, I feel, because, you know, whenever I've done a project, you're always up against the funding, and these big funding bodies spend all their money employing people that don't actually achieve anything. I've seen this. I ran a charity for 8 years with a friend of mine, the legendary Gary Spencer. He's a life coach, you know, teaches great things. We're always in the position that we're always chasing funding, and they don't want to give you it. They don't want to give you it because they want it to pay their bloody wages. So imagine if you're in the position that we could have this bank account sitting there, what people would just apply to, all run by volunteers. Why not? You know, there'll be some trustees, I'm sure. I'm sure there'll be some people watching this who say, oh, Mark, I might be interested in being a trustee. Or people that are interested who go, crikey, I could apply for, you know, like I say, a polytunnel, a greenhouse, some bean sticks, whatever it might be, something what would make their life a little bit easier. So I find that very exciting. So I'm going to be talking about that a bit more in the next few weeks, once we've got it all set up. I don't know if you can see this, but we've got a blue sky. I know you're thinking they look distinctly like, yeah, in the background. Well, that's because they are. It's everywhere, look, you can see it. Ain't they good to us? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been emotional. I'm Mark, I'm the bowler hat farmer. You have the most amazing night you can possibly have.